It's hard to remember that this was still in 2025, but Snow White bombed at the box office earlier this year. Not just, it didn't do so hot. It absolutely and completely tanked. It was one of the biggest misses we've ever seen from Disney, including these live action remakes. And really, one of the key points of failure was Rachel Zegler. Now, there were a lot of things wrong with Snow White. The way that they decided to tell this story, the fact that what they decided to do with the dwarves, all of this shit resulted in what we got, an absolutely abysmal movie. But Rachel Zegler was the worst part in terms of turning the public off immediately. And it wasn't just about her political statements that she attached to the movie, regardless of what side of that you might be on. It was about what she said before they even started filming about what they were going to do to this movie. Her making fun of the original, her shitting all over the original, her attitude, everything about Rachel Zegler turned people off. Even people that aren't very politically inclined and might have just been big Disney fans or fans of Snow White, they hated her. They despised her. Well, now Rachel Zegler is out there doing an interview because she's been named one of Glamour's Women of the Year. I guess this is how low the bar truly is for women. If you go out there and you lose a company, hundreds of millions of dollars, if you tank your movie, if you are a fucking embarrassment, you too can be Woman of the Year. Low bar, apparently. Maybe it's just on, I don't know, impact. Maybe that's what they mean. Because every time Rachel Zegler is talked about, people love to hate her. That makes her relevant, maybe? I don't know. I don't know what the threshold is to become one of Glamour's Women of the Year. But apparently Rachel Zegler made the cut. And in this interview, she decided to do a little spin, to do a little bit of spin for Snow White. Rachel Zegler calls Snow White #1 on streaming on Disney+. And she sure as shit did. This quote comes from a big article on Zegler and Glamour, which names her Woman of the Year. Now, I don't think it's Woman of the Year. She is one of the Women of the Year, because I guess to exclude too many people would be so terrible now. One of the Women of the Year for Glamour, and calls her a rising star. I will say this. Rachel Zegler, terrible fucking Snow White bomb. It was awful. Nobody should hire her for any big budget thing ever again. I think she belongs in theater. I think she belongs in things like Evita, and a lot of people that went and saw that really liked her in that. I do think she's a talented singer. I think she's built for stage acting. I think one of the problems with her acting in Snow White is that it felt like she was acting in a theater. I think she's built for that. I think she should stay there. I think you should stay away from properties that people have a big attachment to, like when it comes to these things like Snow White. That's not for you, Rachel. Stay the fuck away from there. And it calls her a rising star. The piece gives Zegler plenty of opportunities to defend herself from the backlash she elicited during the lead up to Snow White's release. And we know about this. We know about how entitled this bitch seemed. We know how, look, regardless of whatever your political opinion may or may not be, there's a time and a place. And the time and place typically is not to attach it to promoting the trailer for your movie, right? To attach a very divisive political statement onto that. That is what she did. In every way, she tanked this movie. When she told Donald Trump supporters, don't come to my fucking movie, I don't want you there. And then you lose hundreds of millions of dollars. Maybe, just maybe, turns out that that's a bad idea. Speaking of Glamour, Rachel Zegler defends Snow White, saying the live-action remake became the #1 on streaming on Disney+. So this is her way of saying, right? I want to scroll down to her actually answering these questions. This is her way to say that, well, it might have flopped, but it actually was very, very celebrated. Because for a couple days, when it was the only thing that had been released on the platform, on a Disney Plus streaming platform that's a failure, it was #1 for a few days, which means it was celebrated? Are you fucking kidding me? Like, legitimately, are you fucking kidding me? But where is it in this article? We have to find it. We have to find it. Here it is. Hunger Games and Snow White. All the shit you had to deal with, incidentally, which you dealt with such courage, grace, and fortitude. I thought you handled all that so beautifully. Really? You think that her having fucking meltdowns, her telling Trump supporters not to go to it, her fucking like attaching these things and getting blown out of the fucking water, that was graceful to you? that was handling it with class, where they couldn't even do a PR tour because Rachel Zegler was an enormous fucking disaster. They couldn't even promote the movie. And that was graceful to you. I'm sure it was, Glamour Magazine, which is why you ended up choosing her. You were thrown into a very unfair deep end. Every experience, this is Rachel Zegler speaking. Every experience I've had so far has been such a wonderful lesson learned. I'm sure you better fucking have learned the lesson and taken it to heart. Shut the fuck up when you're an ignorant young idiot. I loved working on Snow White, and I love that film. I've seen it a few times, and it became #1 on streaming on Disney+, so I know it's celebrated. It was one of those experiences of sometimes negativity being louder than positivity. It just took a while to really, really soak in when it feels good and understand it's possible when it feels bad. Like, the idea of you bragging about it being #1 on Disney Plus for a couple days is pathetic. And it is trying to change the narrative. Look, I don't really care who Glamour names as Woman of the Year because all the other people they selected probably aren't very deserving either. But to select Rachel Zegler, who had a very good run on the stage in Evita, but also had one of the biggest box office and PR disasters that we've ever seen in fucking history, is wild. It's wild. It's wild that you would select her as one of your Women of the Year. And I think it's very telling that you think that it wasn't her fault. She didn't do anything wrong. She handled it all with such grace. She handled it with the opposite of grace. Do you remember with her standing there during the strikes, bitching about, I deserve to get paid for every minute that this is streamed online. Some 20-year-old fucking spoiled brat. That's one of your Women of the Year. I guess it says a lot about Glamour Magazine, but the truth is, Rachel Zegler will continue for a long time to be incredibly toxic when it comes to anybody looking to put her in a big budget movie, because she has not proven that she can carry it. All she has proven so far is that she can lose you hundreds of millions of dollars. But I guess the bar's just that low for women.